Hello everyone, my name is Jane and welcome to my favorite graphic novels. I'm super excited for today because I wanted to do a graphic novel recommendations video for so long. Basically, I love graphic novels. I read a ton of graphic novels this past year, just so much, and I have so many good graphic novel recommendations that I really want to share. So if you are trying to get into graphic novels, or if you are already reading a lot of graphic novels and you are just looking for new ones, I really hope that this video will be helpful for you. And like I said, I read so many graphic novels, so all the graphic novels today are my most favorite ones. Like the graphic novels that I just love the most, that I remember the most, and that I want to recommend the most. And I think that let's just start. And the first graphic novel that I want to recommend is Mooncakes by Wendy Xu and Susan Walker. Now, this graphic novel is so sweet, just so cute. We're basically following two teenagers, a witch and a werewolf. They were childhood friends, but then the werewolf moved to another town with their family, and now this werewolf is back in town and they are getting reunited again and friends again. But the thing is that there is a lot of plot here and a lot of fantasy plot. Like things are starting to get complicated and there is something that happens to the werewolf, and I feel like this is a really great place to start with graphic novels because the plot here is really good, the characters are really relatable, everything is really fast paced and just keeps you really want to keep reading because there is a lot of things happening here. And I think that in general this graphic novel was made so well. And don't even let me start with the illustrations. The illustration style here is the most beautiful thing ever. Like, it's definitely one of my most beautiful graphic novels that I own. I love the art style so much. It's just so beautiful and the colors are so vibrant. While I was reading it, I just couldn't stop looking again and again at every illustration because everything is just so detailed and so pretty. This graphic novel will definitely make you appreciate the illustrations in it because it's so beautiful. And yes, I really love this graphic novel. It's so sweet. The color scheme is gorgeous and I really recommend it. The next graphic novel is one of my most favorite graphic novels that I read in 2021. It's also a new release from 2021 and I loved it so much. And this is The Girl from the Sea by Molly Knox Osterger. This book was just so cute and so sweet. We're basically following a teenage girl, and this girl is finding out another girl in the sea. And this girl from the sea, she isn't a mermaid, she's something else, but this girl is just getting stuck on the land, and the main character of the story is trying to help her in the world of humans because this girl from the sea isn't a human. And this is also a romance story. It's a sapphic story between those two girls, and just so sweet and so cute. Like, from the start of the story I already got so into the plot and I started to really care about the characters. I just feel like there is a really good combination of everything in the plot. It's also about romance, it's also about coming out and also coming of age. It also talks a lot about friendship and a lot about family dynamics. I just feel like there is so many topics here and it was done so well. And also the illustration style is so cute. Definitely feels to me like really modern illustration style. I also really loved all the clothes in this graphic novel and how everything looks. But also there was a lot of text messages and just things that made me feel like this graphic novel is really modern and really fun. And I just really loved it. Like, again, one of my most favorite ones from 2021. Definitely one that I enjoyed so much and one that I would really recommend. And it has a lot of summer vibes, but I would recommend reading it in any season because it was just so fun and so perfect. Now the next graphic novel is my most favorite graphic novel ever. Like, I love this graphic novel more than any graphic novel that I read. And this is Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me by Mariko Tamaki and Rosemary Valero O'Kneal. And this graphic novel was just so wow to me and I was so impressed by it and I didn't expect to love it this much. But the thing is that this graphic novel was so deep, especially when I'm comparing it to other graphic novels that usually tend to be shorter and not with a lot of depth. This graphic novel really felt to me with a lot of depth, and although there were some things that were left open-ended, I still think that it was so emotional and so touching. And basically this is another sapphic graphic novel. We're following following Freddie. This is Freddie, and she's dating Laura Dean, but Laura Dean is really mean to her, and it's definitely a toxic relationship. And this graphic novel has a lot of trigger warnings, so please check those trigger warnings out. But we're basically seeing how Freddie is dealing with this toxic relationship and how this relationship affects her and her life, and also her friendship with her friends. And it was just so emotional with how her friends were there for her and how much they cared from Freddie. And again, this is my most favorite graphic novel ever. I loved it so much, and the illustration style was so pretty, especially because the color theme, like the whole graphic novel is black and white, but you have a ton of pink, and this pink really makes some things pop out, and I feel like it just makes this whole graphic novel even more amazing because it just highlights specific things and it just makes you feel so much. And yes, I just love it. I really want to read it soon, and it's the best graphic novel ever. Now the next graphic novel is a really summery graphic novel, and this is Bloom by Kevin Panette and Savannah Ganchue, and I love this graphic novel so much. It's a male romance, and if you love Heartstopper, I would definitely recommend checking this graphic novel out. Basically, we're following two teenagers. The first one is living with his parents, and his parents are running a bakery, and this teenager sometimes helps them in this bakery. And the second teenager is someone who is new to town, and he's basically getting a job in this bakery. And this is a really sweet romance story, but I feel like there was a lot of depth also in this graphic novel. This graphic novel is pretty long. It has over 300 pages, and I feel like it really shows in the book, because a lot of times graphic novels tend to be short and tend to feel like they are not enough. But I feel like this graphic novel was long enough for me to actually get into the story and to actually feel and care about the characters. I feel like the length of the plot and that there was a lot of it really made me enjoy the story so much, because I just felt like there is more and more and more to the plot. Like while I was reading it, it just kept surprising me of how much deep it was. And the illustration style is so stunning. The whole graphic novel is only in blue ink, but I actually really love it because first of all, it really gives the summer vibes, but I also feel like it goes really well with the illustrations, and it's still not black and white. Like the blue feels different than black and white. And yes, I just loved the romance here so much. It was so touching for me, and there is also going to be a sequel releasing, I think in 2023, so there is a lot of time until then, but I'm still really excited about it. But anyway, like I said, this graphic is long enough for you to really enjoy it fully without feeling like it's too short. And yes, I just really loved it, and it was just so fun. Now the next graphic novel is a super short graphic novel, and this is Fangs by Sarah Anderson. Now this graphic novel is really short. Like it took me something like 15 minutes, 20 minutes to read it. It's super short, but I still really want to recommend it because it was so fun. Basically here we are following a couple of a vampire and a werewolf, and the thing is that this graphic novel is a compilation of their moments together. Like there isn't really any plot here, it's just their moments in their relationship and how being a vampire and a werewolf affects them in their relationship. And the thing is that this book was so relatable, like in those small couple moments, and it was just so sweet and so genuine. I feel like it was so fun to read it because it actually felt real. Before it's a supernatural story, it actually felt real. Like you're reading about a real couple with real struggles and just real stuff. Again, it's super short. There isn't a lot of depth here because again, it's not really a story. It's more of a compilation of all of their moments, but it was still so fun and I really enjoyed it. And I also think that the art style is so cute and just so fun, and it has also black spread edges, which is really pretty. Now the next graphic novel is the first graphic novel that I ever read, and I loved it so much, and this is The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wong. And this graphic novel was just so sweet and so cute. Basically we're following a dressmaker that is getting a really big opportunity to work for the princess and to make her dresses, and then she's getting to this job and she's finding out that she isn't making dresses for the princess, she's making those dresses for the prince. And this story was just so beautiful. It's about accepting yourself, but accepting yourself when others won't accept you right away and when others will have a really difficult time, especially because it's about a prince and he has an image that he needs to protect. And this book was just so emotional in that way, and I feel like it took this subject and it dealt with it so well. I was so impressed from it. It was so cute. Like I remember it until today. I really want to read it because I really love this graphic novel. Like it was just so sweet, and I just really love the representation and the subject that this graphic novel talked about, and the illustrations are so pretty. Like all the fashion here and the dresses and just the whole thing, because this is about royalty. Just everything was so beautiful with so many beautiful and amazing illustrations and so many beautiful dresses. Like, I'm not sure how much time it took to work on this graphic novel, but it seems to me so detailed with so many amazing art, and I just enjoyed it so much. Like, it definitely combines the fun of reading a graphic novel and beautiful illustrations together, and I really recommend it. It was so good. The representation here was amazing, and it's just a really unique story that I really enjoyed. Now, the next graphic novel is kind of the only series that I have on this list, and this is a Saga by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. There is currently, I think, 9 volumes to the series, so this is definitely a series and not a standalone, but I read the whole Saga volumes in 24 hours. It was one of the first videos that I ever made on my channel. I will link it if you want to watch it, although it was super long, so it will probably be really cringy, but it's not that long. Like, obviously I read it in 24 hours, and the thing is that I was pretty critical about this graphic novel at first. There was so many reviews, but honestly, the first few volumes, I enjoyed them, but I didn't really felt in the story itself. But from volume 4 and throughout the rest of the graphic novel, I enjoyed it so much, and I got so into the story and into the characters and just into the plot. And this graphic novel is so impressive. Like, it's so impressive because it's a fantasy and sci-fi graphic novel, and there is a ton of world building that looks so amazing. It's basically a romance story. We are following 2 aliens. Both of them are from different races and different planets, and their races are in a war against each other, and they are trying to be together, but the government is searching after them because they can't be together because they are not from the same race. And this is just their story of them trying to save themselves and their baby, and just to escape this really big war that is going in the world. Now, again, the world building here is so good. It's also not the only plot. There is a lot of plots and a lot of POVs. Just there is so many good things here, and again, the world building is amazing. Like, if you are those kind of readers that really love world building and really love adult fantasy or adult sci-fi, just things with a lot of world building, this is definitely a graphic novel that I will recommend to you. And it's very adult. There isn't censor to anything. You can see everything. Like, it's definitely very adult. And also check trigger warnings because it's a pretty rough graphic novel. Like, it's the most adult graphic novel that I ever read. There is so much there, a lot of gore also, but honestly, I really enjoyed it, especially when I really got into the story. And if you're looking for something really deep and not something quick that you will forget about it later, this is definitely the graphic novel for you. And although there is 9 volumes, again, it's not very long to read every volume. Like, it's a graphic novel, it still will be really short, so don't be intimidated by the number of the volumes in this graphic novel. And yes, I really enjoyed it, and I will definitely recommend it. Also, if you didn't really love the first volumes, I will recommend trying reading the rest of the volumes because it gets a lot more intense later on in the series. Now, the next graphic novel is Squad by Maggie Tukandahel and Lisa Sterl. Now, this is another new release graphic novel. It was released only in the end of 2021, and I really enjoyed this graphic novel. This is basically Mean Girls, but werewolves. Like, it's so Mean Girls that it was just so fun. We're following a teenager that is going to a new school, and then she is getting well with the popular girls at school, but then she is finding out that those girls are werewolves. So just Mean Girls with werewolves. It was pretty gore. Like, I would definitely consider it somewhat of a horror because of all of the goreness, but I really enjoyed it. The only thing is that this is those exact graphic novels that feel too short and not deep enough, but not too much. Like, I still really enjoyed it. This is just the only graphic novel here on this list that I gave less than 4 stars because of it, but I will still really recommend it, especially because until today I still think about it. I really wish it was a bit longer, so be aware that it might feel a little bit short to you, but again, although it was short to me, I still really enjoyed it. This is again the video of my most favorite graphic novels. If this is on this list, it means that it's good enough to be one of my favorites. Like, the idea was just so good, and there was a lot of gore power here, and it's also sapphic, so like representation again, it's amazing. And the illustrations were so pretty, like just so pretty in another level. I enjoyed the illustrations so much. Definitely one of my most favorite illustrations that I read in a graphic novel, and it's definitely part of the experience. So if you're here mainly because you're looking for beautiful illustrations, this is definitely the graphic novel for you. And yes, oh my god, this was my most favorite graphic novels. The graphic novels that I love the most and that I really want to recommend. And I really hope that you find this video helpful. I wanted to make a graphic novel recommendations video for so long, and I always kept saying to myself, no, let's wait a little bit more and have more good recommendations, but I already have a ton, so I'm really happy that I finally did this video. I just love graphic novels so much. They are so fun to read, and I'm always in a look for more graphic novels that hopefully I will love. Please tell me, what is your most favorite graphic novel? Is it something on this list or something that I didn't mention? Please let me know, because again, I'm always looking for graphic novels. And yes, I really hope that you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Bye everyone!